Just want to welcome all of you guys to Commercial Roofer Community. My name is Cody Kline, for those of you guys unfamiliar with me, and I'm the founder of not only this Facebook community, but also commercialroofer.com. I'm also happen to be a roofer for the last 11 years. And today I brought a couple friends along to discuss really how to launch your commercial roofing division and how to do it the right way. All right. Doug, Sonny, if you guys don't, it looks like we're good to go. If you guys don't mind, maybe just introduce yourselves to everyone here that's joined us already and let them know which of you is which and what you guys do and what this fluid applied roofing thing is.
Yes, I'm Doug Pond on the Fluid Applied Roofing. I'm in the business development. I help service all the contractors across the nation.
I'm Sonny Arwood. I'm the founder and CEO of Flip Applied Roofing, and we're just here to help. And we're excited to be here actually with you guys, and looking forward to any questions and the answers that we provide.
Cool. Thank you, guys. And for the sole reason that it allows me to see like the quantity of people that show up live versus the people that end up watching this later on a replay. And, lets me know, if we're doing these at times that are, convenient for people and, just times that people are able to show up live. If you guys would do me a favor and just in the chat, either type live if you're watching this here live with me today, or if you're watching it on a replay, go ahead and do the exact same thing and just type replay in the chat for me. So again, either way is fine. Just to help me out for scheduling of our future trainings, live or replay in the chat. So I think it might be a good place for me to start if we cover like the very basics of launching a commercial roofing division, because I think in the very basics, like clarity and alignment are just important to ensure that we're all on the same page here. And when discussing commercial roofing in general, there's a lot of moving parts, okay? And, sometimes it can feel like a maze, like we don't know which direction to go to get to our desired destination. But at the tip of the sword, and really before anything else can happen within our business at all, within the entire process of commercial roofing, we just need an opportunity. So we need leads and we need an opportunity to make a sale. And then when we have that opportunity, we then need a way to monetize that lead or that opportunity. So I'm going to talk about those two things. I'm going to show you guys today how to, how to go to market as far as how to, run. I'll give you a couple different options for how to run some marketing. And then I'll show you how I'm coaching guys on how to monetize every situation when you're on top of a roof, once you get that opportunity. And then from there, I'm going to kind of lean on my counterparts of Doug and Sonny to jump in and show you guys how to navigate part of the sales process when it comes to, in regards to the roof itself, and some stuff on the production and fulfillment side of the process. So I'll go ahead and get started. I guess first things first, we can talk about getting leads. And right now, if I zoom out and take a look at what we're really coaching guys on or what we're seeing working is 5 methods of like tried and true old school, canvassing and what I would consider like direct marketing. And, maybe just those are like the 5 strategies. There are 5, the 5 that I'm going to show you guys are part of those, marketing buckets. And they all have one thing in common, and it's that they all work to a different degree. And it's all about tracking the data. And we track the data like you wouldn't believe with our private clients, because we always want to be optimizing. And there's really 3 main pillars that we always want to optimize to. Now, there's a ton of different KPIs that you can track, but these are the main 3 that you want to pay attention to, no matter what you're spending your money on to try to acquire, commercial roofing jobs. Number 1 is going to be the cost per lead. So how much did you spend to get the opportunity to go look at this roof, to get your foot on this roof, okay? Number 2 is going to be the cost of client acquisition. How many dollars did it cost you to acquire a contract? The third thing is going to be your return on investment. And so that's just, the percentage of how much you put in to how much you got out. Now, give me just a moment. We're utilizing a new software here today, testing it out here in the group. And I would like to share my screen with you guys. Let's see if we can add this in here. Cool. Okay, so Doug, Sonny, can you guys see that pulled up on your end?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I've kind of laid out the 5 different strategies that we see really working for guys within the market, literally like today. And it's nothing that's going to be earth-shattering or groundbreaking as I kind of walk you guys through these 5. But what I will do is I'll show you guys, how we're doing the latter 2, which is the LinkedIn prospecting and the Facebook prospecting. And I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty revolutionary. It's pretty it gets me excited to talk about. So, and I see this stuff every day. So let's just go through them one by one. And if you guys have any questions, you can put them in the chat. And after this call, I'll be happy to kind of circle back and answer any of those for you. Number 1 is prospecting, right? It's been tested by, time and time. I think people have probably been prospecting business for the last 60 or 70 years, even within our industry. So our steps for that are pretty simple, right? We're going to pull a list. Typically, we're pulling a list from either CoStar or Reonomy. If you happen to be working like a storm-stricken area, you may utilize something along the lines of, I don't know, maybe Hail Trace or there's a plethora of softwares like that. But our kind of go-to is CoStar or Reonomy. And then from there, taking that list and doing the dirty work, actually, walking into these businesses, finding the decision maker and pitching an offer. And we'll talk about offers here in just a little bit. But the whole idea is like when you're going out and doing prospecting, you or whoever's doing that for you, a business development rep within your company has to have an objective. And most of the time, the objective is going to be to, book a roof inspection. But that's not always the objective if you're prospecting for, say, new construction, for instance. So if you were to go to, prospect for general contractors and maybe your objective is not necessarily to get your foot on the roof per se, but it's more your objective may be in line with getting access to their bid room or access to bid an opportunity. So keep that in mind. The objective is, what is the objective? Being clear with your team on that is very important. Second thing, this is my favorite, right? So this is, absolute savagery when it comes to doing outbound processes. And it is picking up the phone. Yes, they still exist, calling a number. And the process for this is not too much different than actually prospecting, okay? So it's pulling a list. A lot of times we're pulling the exact same list that we'd be pulling for prospecting, doing walk-ins. And from there, we're creating a tracking sheet, and then we're dialing from a recorded line. So you could utilize something like Phone Burner or, Quick Connect. There's a ton of different options for that, but basically putting that list into a dialer. And there's a lot to building out an actual, internal call center, if you will, or an internal like outbound, cold calling team. But I wanted to share some really important metrics for you. What we found is that if, you have somebody dialing for 8 hours a day, you're probably going to get 5.5 hours of productivity from that person, 5.5, 6 hours. If you have them work for 4 hours a day, so, part-time doing outbound calling, you're more likely to get that 3.5 to 4 hours of actual productivity from that person. So we see the best bang for your buck typically being in that 4 hours a day window. And then, like I said, the metrics are, you'll see here on my screen, I have 100/20/2. What that means is within the 4 hours, they make a minimum of 100 calls. And doesn't sound like a lot for 4 hours, but we also don't like speed dialing. Okay. So these dialers typically have, they have 2 or 3 different settings, and you can change the speed for which it, dials out dials outbound, and the slower and more methodical, the slowest option on those dialers, we find to be the best, just because it allows you to not jump from call to call to call and, just drop voicemail bombs as you go. So 100 calls within 4 hours, we usually expect 20 people to pick up the phone and answer. And the metrics show higher than that, but when you set your expectations at 100 dials, 20 pickups, and 2 appointments booked, it allows you to, be able to exceed those expectations on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so that was my favorite. Close second is probably a lumpy mail campaign. And I don't know how many of you guys are super familiar with a gentleman by the name of Dan Kennedy, but he is like the OG marketing genius, okay? There's probably 20 to 30 books that he's written, and they're all titled crazy titles, but I read a book probably 5 or 6 years ago, and this method stuck with me ever since. So it's called Direct Marketing for Companies That Don't Do Direct Marketing, or something along those lines. And lumpy mail is a direct mail campaign where you're pulling a list like you normally would. You're pairing, whatever your offer is, whatever your letter is, with a 3-dimensional product paired within that package. And so the open rates, go through the roof, no pun intended. And the response rates go from typically what we see with, a standard direct mail campaign is like 1 to 3% for lead conversion. But when we've done testing on this and had our clients do it, we're typically seeing 5 to 7%. So that could have to do with, obviously having the 3-dimensional objects in there, but also on top of that, the offers, which again, we'll chat about here in just a few minutes. So these last 2 things are what I was wanting to show you guys and what I will show you guys here on the screen. And it's how we're getting clients from LinkedIn and Facebook with running zero ads, zero ad spend. We're utilizing a software, which anyone can go and get this software. The software is open to the public, but we figured out how to build these pipelines and strategies to really run these people through a process of bringing them in as, a super cold lead. They've never heard of you. They've never heard of your company, and warming them up along a process that we call the microwave method, because we're warming it up, and then engaging in a chat and booking a call or whatever your objective is, right? Booking a call or setting an appointment. So let me show you how this works. It's pretty insane. So this one here, I'm going to show you Facebook first, and then we'll jump to LinkedIn. So if I was a roofer and I was wanting to utilize this software to start prospecting for, let's just use hotel and motel owners because I had it here on my search. But you could utilize this for anything, right? Whether it was property managers, building owners, commercial real estate, building owners, and so on and so forth. But there's typically a Facebook group. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of Facebook groups, but there's typically a Facebook group for any one type of person that you're wanting to search for. And so you can see this group here. If I highlight this up top, if you guys can see that on your screen, there's about 21,000 members within this group. And it's not specific to an area. It's probably nationwide, if not global. And I'm going to show you guys how to find the people within your area that may be in a part of this group. And just, again, keep in mind that there's, hundreds of thousands of groups and probably hundreds of groups for hotels and motel owners alike. So, Doug, Sonny, you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
I know you guys work with a lot of contractors. Could you give me just a random area where you might have a contractor that is doing quite a bit of business right now?
Texas.
Okay, cool. Texas is my second home. So
Yeah, that's right.
All right, cool. So I'm here in the Facebook group and I searched Texas. Okay. And here's the thing. I've had some clients in the past that kind of get caught up on like, oh, we don't, we only work in DFW, or, we don't want to be building jobs in San Antonio or whatever the case might be. the problem is, or I guess maybe the good thing is like most people that own hotels or warehouses or any sort of industrial or commercial type building don't necessarily live where they own their properties. I've lived in Austin, Texas for the last 13, 14 months, and I own commercial real estate in Indiana, right? And, maybe that's not the greatest example, but like all over these people own real estate all over the place. So just because they live in DFW doesn't mean that they don't own, properties in Austin or San Antonio or so on and so forth. So it's always better to search the entire state, just from what we've found. So as I scroll through here, you guys will also notice that there is a little pink and blue box here at the top right of my screen. And I'll continue to scroll through here. And if you're paying attention to that box, you'll see that it's saying, import 47 profiles. And if I scroll down a little bit further, import 57 profiles. And every time I scroll down, it's adding 10 to that number. And if I was to hit import, it's automatically going to take all of these people into the software. Okay. And it's going to put them all in a column just like this over here and lead in. So then what we do is we have 6 girls that work for us that are doing this for our clients, but they would go in here and they would qualify one by one. They would just, click and open the person's profile like I just did. And they would see, is that guy or is that person a qualified candidate, somebody that we want to engage in a conversation with. And when that happens, they then get moved from over here and lead in over to qualified. And then from there, we know that they're qualified and it's somebody that we can help. And then we move them through the rest of our process. Okay. So I'm not going to bore you guys and give you like every single individual step, but I'll kind of walk you through what we're doing here on Facebook. We're sending a friend request. For us specifically, we're adding them to a Facebook group, but for the clients that we're building out, we're literally just adding them as a friend. We are engaging with some of their content, so liking one of their posts or liking one of their photos, and then we're engaging in a conversation with them and trying to book a call. So we're literally creating a cookie cutter method of, bringing in these people by the boatload and filtering them out by qualifying them, just making, typically we're looking for things like, is this person actually a property manager? Does this person actually own commercial real estate? If you're searching for contractors, for instance, like, if you do sub work or whatever the case might be, is this guy actually a roofing contractor, and so on and so forth. And then we're moving them through this process to end up getting them to our objective of booking a call or booking an inspection. Now, LinkedIn is not too much different. All right, so here we are. This is just, as if I had just logged into LinkedIn. This is the, the dashboard or feed that you see when you log in. And what I would do here is I would search for, you can see we've been testing some things. We'll search for property management. And actually, you know what? I'm going to go even a little narrower and just type in property manager and see what we get to come up here. Now, when I search that, LinkedIn's going to show me all kinds of crazy stuff. So I'm going to filter it down. I'm going to say, hey, I only want you to show me people. And I only want you to show me people we'll just do Indiana since that's where I'm at currently. And it pulls up about 11,000 results. So I'm not going to want to import 11,000 people. So I would probably go over here to filter it down a little bit further. I'd say like, hey, only show me people that I'm first degree connections with or second degree connections. If you guys are familiar with LinkedIn, you'll know what that means. I may go down and just scroll through this entire page to filter that down. And the cool part is just like in Facebook, you'll see that we have this little box over here on the right-hand side. And as we scroll through these pages, you'll see And it might be because I'm on this streaming software, but typically it'll, as you scroll through the pages, it will actually add 10 profiles, 20 profiles, 30 profiles, and it's all people that we know or that we think we can help, right? So then what we do is the exact same thing that I just showed you guys, right? We would bring them into lead in, and then obviously we don't want, if they're not, maybe somehow within the LinkedIn search, we pulled in somebody that's not actually a property manager or somebody that, just got qualified as that for whatever reason. Maybe they're, LinkedIn used to be a property manager. That's happened from time and time again. But we'll qualify them. And then let me show you what the pipeline looks like for LinkedIn, because our process is a little different, obviously, just because the platform's a bit different. So you guys will see we've got some people here in lead in. This is actually our testing pipeline, and they'll be pre-qualified here in this category. And then here's the process that we're running people through for LinkedIn. Okay. So we're sending a connection request and then going through and engaging on a couple of their posts, just like we would on Facebook. Once we're connected with that person, they accept our connection request, we're going through and we have a series of messages that we send to them. And we're not utilizing a bot. We're utilizing templates that sound like they actually come from a human, okay? And within all of those templates are saved here within the software, but then we're booking calls just like we would on, just like we would on Facebook. And that is, let's see here. Yeah, that's pretty much it for Facebook and LinkedIn. So if you guys are interested in more information on that afterwards, just put any questions, or if I didn't connect the dots, well enough for you guys, like just put some comments in the chat and I'll be happy to answer those for you guys. Now, the last part that I'm going to talk about before I kind of segue into chatting with Doug and Sunny is, let me zoom in here a little bit so you guys can maybe see this a little bit better. No matter how you decide to go to market, whether you do cold calling or you walk into the places or you decide that, hey, I'm going to spend an hour or two a day like doing my prospecting on social media where, everyone seems to be these days, they all have something in common. They're all going to generate an opportunity at some point. And if we circle back to what I said a little bit ago, maybe 10, 15 minutes ago, you have to have a way to monetize these opportunities that are going to give you positive ROI and give you numbers that are acceptable for your, cost of lead and your cost of acquisition of client. Now, the way to do that is to have multiple options when you get on the roof. And the way I look at it is, if I step up on a roof right now, there's really 4 options or 4 scenarios that I'm kind of faced with, all right? I'm always going to, if you're lucky enough to live in a storm-stricken area, I'm always going to look for the low-hanging fruit, the easiest sale, right? So I'm going to look for storm damage. And if we know that there has been no storm damage in that area, or we're unable to find storm damage, I'm going to pivot to my second option. The second option is going to be, is there life left in this roof system, or does it need to be replaced? If we look at the roof and there's no storm damage, maybe the roof was only installed 5 or 6 years ago, doesn't necessarily need to be replaced. I'm going to pivot to, does it need any immediate service work? Are there any repairs that need done immediately? So that's option number 3. Now, let's say we're on a roof. There's no storm damage. The roof's only a couple years old, so it doesn't necessarily need to be replaced. We've, done our 12-point, commercial roof inspection. We've checked all the flashings. We've checked all the seams. Seems to be in good working order. We're going to pivot to what you see on the far left here, which is no damage found, no repairs needed, replacement not warranted at this time. And we're going to start to create a book of business for ourselves and create an opportunity to sell either preventative maintenance, or to at least get those people established within our CRM to circle back and reinspect for them within 4 to 6 months. So, Doug and Sonny, I would like to kind of segue you guys in here at this point, and give me just a moment here. I'm going to get back to the software and look at my notes because I actually had a couple questions for you guys that I'd like to tee up, and then if you guys have anything to add, I'd love to hear it.
Sure.
Cool. So when we're in the sales process and we're up on the roof and we've kind of analyzed the situation to figure out where we want to go, how do you guys see, or like what best practices do you guys see to actually analyze that project to ensure that they're going to sell the correct roof system or the correct solution to the building owner and to serve that asset in the best way possible?
So, you've covered some of this, obviously, with visual inspection. That's a given. We have to. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
So obviously, we're going to do a visual inspection. You're going to have kind of boots on the ground to look at this roof. And so what we normally will do is we'll look at that. We'll be asking questions about the age of the roof. We're looking at, for example, if it's a flat roof, that substrate, what's the condition? Are we seeing ponding water? We'll ask questions like how many leaks have they been dealing with? So as we start to analyze all this information, we're also looking at ponding water. There's a lot of standing water because that is going to indicate that there's been leaks. The insulation is being compromised and compressed under that water. If we're seeing those types of things, we'll look for possibly pushing out a thermal scan on that roof to see what we can't see, on the surface. And once we've done all of those types of things, we're looking at seams and details and penetrations. I think you kind of briefly mentioned that as you were talking through your presentation. Once we've looked through all that information and started to analyze it, that will give us direction as to whether or not the roof is actually suitable to have a fluid applied application installed. In some cases, you may be able to cut out wet areas and replace those and still save the majority of the roof. We do suggest that, if there's a savings, obviously, and the roof is in suitable condition, getting it into under a fluid applied application will lead you into a very controlled cost. In other words, your life cycle cost will go down because you can get into a sustainable system. So those are the types of things that we start to look for, right out of the gate, so we can really determine whether or not the roof is a good candidate or not. Sometimes you just have to re-roof. And we will lead our contractors down that path. If a re-roof is necessary, then we will direct you to re-roofing versus putting a roof coating or fluid applied application on.
Cool. So there's a lot of people here within this group that are really getting started. And I think that's probably why we've had such a big turnout here today for this, specific training. For a roofing contractor that, gets an opportunity, whether it falls in their lap or they're intentional about, going and marketing it as a commercial roofing company this year, how can they leverage, a partnership with you guys or a manufacturer in general to kind of assist them in learning the right way to serve these people and serve their assets, their buildings?
Yeah, so I kind of help out with that category quite a bit. We have a great support group here at Fluid Applied Roofing. You start with myself. All employees are trained in commercial roofing. We all know a lot of the substrates, which help out. So I have the clients send me pictures, details of the roof. I review that with them, do takeoffs, things like that, assist with taking off the seams or depending on the substrate, if it's EPDM or metal, whatever that may be. Evaluation of the roof substrate for coating capabilities. I give them pricing. I give them training. So I would go out, train them on how to spray, how to walk a roof, how to, analyze it, give them some ideas on costing for their clients throughout the nation, because every part of the nation has different cost methods. I see a big variety of labor cost differences in the East Coast, West Coast, also in Texas. So, I've got a lot of knowledge in that area, so I could help out with that. We have a lot of knowledge in how our product works with all the substrates. Metals, its own animal. EPDM is its own animal. So we've tested it, and we've got a lot of product down on millions of square feet all over the country.
Cool. Yes, definitely appreciate that. Now, I know you guys are obviously working with a ton of contractors. Doug, I especially see you all over Facebook all the time. You're in every commercial roofing forum I think there is. And so, in dealing with all of those contractors, outside of what I talked about on the marketing side, what are you seeing some of these other guys doing, and what's working for some of those contractors, if anything, outside of what I've already talked about?
Well, you've already touched on a lot of the points. And again, this is area dependent. A lot of mailers, a lot of Facebook ads, a lot of LinkedIn ads. I've got guys that are getting 30 leads a month, qualified leads just off their Facebook marketing alone.
Nice.
But again, I'll have guys do 5,000, 10,000 mailers, and they kill it. It just depends on the area. Um, LinkedIn, like you said, I'm a big advocate for LinkedIn, and love what you just showed there. That's a great drop down on how to find people. Facebook is phenomenal. I'm not a big door knocker.
Yeah.
I did that. I kind of started that deal in COVID. It didn't work out so well, so I moved into the social media category, and that's how we exploded with the growth. A lot of people are on that, and a lot of people are looking for businesses on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Yeah, 100%. Especially like savvy business owners are, they're typically, it's just like, ju- I think in our world, we see a lot of, at least on my Facebook, I have a ton of roofers, right? Well, it's like, that's not the only industry that does that. That's how there's, billions of people on these platforms. It's like, you have the roofing industry that's that way. You have the commercial real estate industry that's that way. The property management industry that's that way. So it's like, we're all on these same platforms. It's like, how can you tie into those other industries that are going to be multi-beneficial for you and the alternative person? So, cool. I think we covered a lot of ground here. Sonny, do you have anything to add to either the marketing side, the sales side, or the production and fulfillment side? Any best practices or anything that I may have, browsed over, skipped over today?
I don't know if you want we had one more point that, I don't know if this is the form to make it or not, but we talked about coatings and how they can be utilized in providing maintenance. I don't know if you want to cover that today or another day.
Yeah,
But
actually, you know what? Let's do that because I apologize. I did skip it over. I just pulled my notes back up here, but yeah. So let's talk about how coatings can be utilized in, not only, roof and, coating an entire roof, but maybe in some other situations.
yeah, so I think it goes without saying, all of us